Hi, everybody. We're live. We're McKay, live from the Cosmic Couch. How's everybody doing today? First day of Sun and Gemini, kind of ungrounded energy, kind of woo. So we're gonna take a breath and just get grounded. And you're up in the redwoods, so maybe you could give us some of that. We could really use some of that. So I am
Totally.
so excited to have my dear friend and sister, Kristin Dwan, to be with us today from the Healing Woods. And I'm looking forward to having more in-person adventures with my soul sister. It's been too
Yeah.
long. I've been fortunate to know you for a few years now. I'm going to
Yeah.
go ahead and read her very impressive bio. Kristin Dwan is a certified hypnotherapist, author, Reiki master, and is owner of the Healing Woods, where she works with people wherever they are in the world via Zoom. Kristin specializes in soul deep healing of the subconscious and ancestral level to release you from the blockages that keep you from the life, love, and joy that you yearn to experience. She's your guide through the world of shadow work to make sure your subconscious mind is in alignment with what you consciously desire in life. It's very important,
Yes.
right? Kristin found her introduction to Reiki and the path of transformation over 20 years ago by dying and coming back to life in a burn ward, receiving skin grafts for third-degree burns over 30% of her body. True story, folks. Going through this lesson showed Kristin the huge difference between thriving in life versus merely existing, and she has been thriving ever since. And ain't that the truth? My
Yes.
Phoenix rising friend. That's how I often refer to you. So today, what's very exciting, we're going to talk about it today. Kristin's working on creating Spirit Craft, the ritual creation oracle, to be released next year in 2022. It will be 3 decks in one, which will help the user create a ritual anytime and any place that will help them create a deeper connection to spirit, which allows, of course, a deeper connection within themselves. And I'm excited. I'm going to be a guest on your program for that, I think, when
Yes.
that's coming up. So,
Definitely.
always so much cool stuff in the fire, always creating so many great things. I don't even know where to start here. I guess I'd like to say that it's been really interesting and beautiful to see you blossom because your energy work's amazing. And, I've experienced some energy work from you and some teachings from you. But then when you got in, I think it's like with me with the Akashic work, when you got into the hypnotherapy, you just really bloomed. You just blossomed to another level. It was like this next little piece for you. I could really see that because you were already doing that. And I think what's beautiful about it is, I love your voice. And if people don't know, Kristin's a singer. You've been in bands and is a musician. And so using your voice to guide people, it seemed like a really natural, next kind of step for you. And of course, knowing you went and excelled and got this certification and through some, we all know everybody in 2020 doing all this stuff. It's been challenging to do these things, and zooming everything and canceling and rescheduling and trying to make it happen. So yay for that. I'm super excited for you, but just to comment on that, to see what a great fit that is for you. And folks that are watching this, we're going to be talking about how you can work with Kristin and talk to her about her packages and offerings that she has. And also, why don't you tell me about Spirit Craft? Oh, before you get into that, Kristin's got a wonderful knack for working with the moons like I do. I work with the new and the full moons in my way and as an astrologer. And we kind of have a nice tandem where I've come in on some of Kristin's offerings and shared a few words about the astrology of the moon. So it's kind of a nice, we have a nice pairing that way. So you have a real gift for ritual creation, for working with moons, new and full moons, and other aspects. So tell us about it. Let's hear about Spiritcraft. I'm excited.
Yay. Well, thank you for having me, Irma.
Oh, my
And I
pleasure.
wanted to comment really quickly about what you said about my voice, because, yeah, I was in bands for like 20 years. And then I, um, I sang since I was, in third grade. And so when the band quit, or when I had to stop the band, it was to build the Healing Woods, and I needed to really focus on building the business. I really missed using my voice. But then I realized, that was when the writing of the book started. And so that was me using my voice within the written word. And, Baptism by Flame is the book. It's about my whole Dying and Coming Back to Life from the Fire, my
It's a
Phoenix
great
story.
book. I read it, folks.
But
Read it.
then,
It's different.
uh,
I was just
thank
telling him
you.
to read the book because it's great.
And then, then the book was written. So then I missed writing, right? And then I was like, well, I'm going to use my voice within hypnosis. So yeah, I've used my voice many different ways in life, and I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah.
And so how I'm using my voice now is through Spiritcraft. And Spiritcraft is a deck, and it's also a ritual, online ritual. And so I'm working on writing the deck right now. It's going to have a book, like a full-on book with it, not just a little piece of paper that, normal decks come with. It's not a tarot deck, and it's not an oracle deck. It's something like completely different that I can't find has ever been created. There's one deck that kind of did what I'm looking at, but not as in depth. This is going to be an 81 card deck.
Wow.
And there's going to be 3 decks within, yeah. So that's why it's taken us a while. It's taken us a while to do. I partnered up with an amazing friend of mine, Amanda Marie Mullins, and I actually did music with her, one of the bands I was in. And, so we knew that we melded well together, and we created well together. So we just decided, well, let's, instead of trying to like do a band during COVID when bands can't play anyway,
right.
Let's take all that creative power and put it into this deck. And so she's doing the artwork, and visually stunning and beautiful. And every time she sends me a card, I cry a little bit because
I've seen some. I've had the sneak peek, right? I've seen a couple, and I have to just say they are really special. I've seen, I think, a couple of the cards that you have shared with us, and yeah, they're really unique. They're really special, and I love that you're telling me a little bit more about how the deck's going to work, because that's news information for me too. Yeah. That's all brand new for me. But yeah, I have had a sneak peek, folks, at a couple of the cards, and they're really stunning. Yeah, she's a wonderful artist.
She's amazing. And it was beautiful because she grew up in the redwoods. So she knows my love, like my deep, deep connection to these trees. So it was her idea. And I was like, yes, to put redwoods somewhere like in the background of every single card. So you'll see the theme of like the redwoods throughout.
And of course, in the healing woods, right? In the healing woods, in every card. That's so. Do you have one or two with you? Do you have it with you? Any of them, or they're online?
I'm traveling. So you can go to Spiritcraft. The deck has a page, a Facebook page, and every full moon I'm posting a new card.
Oh, so great. Okay. Wonderful. Yeah.
And so it's basically a deck that is created, and the reason I did this was, through the, 30 years of reading tarot and helping people in ritual and doing ritual myself, a lot of people will text me or call me or email me and be like, what do I do? I'm trying to do this, or there's a full moon coming up. How do I celebrate it? And instead of constantly like giving people, ideas on what to do, I decided, why not create a tool that they can empower themselves to figure out what type of ritual, what to use for the ritual, and what to focus on for the ritual. So there's 3 different cards. And, it's so funny, the numerology of this all just, I didn't mean for this to happen, but it just kind of did. Like I downloaded all the things that I wanted to be in the deck. And so there's 3. Everything's like a 3 in the deck. So there's 3 decks. Each of the decks has 27 different things. That's 9, right?
Right.
And then there's 81 cards. 9.
That's like triple goddess all over that thing, right? I mean, that's what I thought. I'm like, we hear you. Wow, that's amazing. Yay.
Yeah, I had no idea until I wrote everything out, because we're submitting now to different publishers. So you write out like your outline and everything. And I was like, wait a minute, look at this numerology. And what's interesting is 2022, 6.
Yeah. It's a 6. That's right. That's so cool. I thought of something I wanted to ask you, that you've been doing these hypnotic journeys, and you've been doing them on the full moon, and the new moon. I participated in some of these.
Mhm.
Are you going to be going forward with those in like in addition to spirit craft, or is that going to be separate, or how is that going to go? Because I love that work.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
definitely doing that. Right now, Spirit Craft is active. I started it in January. So every full moon we've met, and the little community has been growing beautifully. Amazing people who just want to get together and connect, especially during these times of social
Right.
distance,
Right.
And so people all over the world at this point, because we actually have somebody in Canada.
Yeah.
So it's everywhere. People are really coming from all over, which is great. And so we come together, we set one intention for the month, because I work in moon cycles. I don't like to
Right.
give myself these like, well, I have a few lofty goals, like the deck is definitely a goal, a lofty goal for like next year. But instead of looking at it like, oh, I'll do this next year, I look at like, what can I do within the next month, between this full moon and the next one. And so I'll give myself small goals, on the
Right.
deck. And so we all, meet, we figure out, what our goals are going to be. And then I usually have a speaker, which is going to be you coming up this year. You're going
Yay.
to be one of them. But there's always going to be a person of a different walk of spirit, I call it, because we all have our ways of communing with spirit. I see spirit as, there's so many different languages to get to know spirit in. Some of them are religions, but I tend to, have more people who are into spirit itself, not giving it like a title or a book,
Right. Right.
yeah. So it's been beautiful. And then, yeah, at the end, I do a hypnotic journey for everybody, having them plant their intention deep within their subconscious. That is the magic.
When you
The
do it
magic
in
is,
group, I have to say, because I've done quite a few hypnotherapy sessions in group and individual, and they both have their brilliance and their beauty to them. And,
yeah.
obviously you can do different things within the two different types of sessions. Those group
Mhm.
sessions, when you get that group vortex, you get that group going, and then you
Oh,
do have
yeah.
some wonderful people. I know your folks, and they're lovely, and some of them are my folks and they're our folks. And they my other question I wanted to ask you was, you were sharing with me about spiritcraft, about some of the different folks. I think you said you have Wiccan folks, you have pagan folks, you had somebody that was even maybe from a Christian denomination. You had,
Mhm.
so can you tell me a little bit about that? Who's all coming on for that? That's interesting to me.
Yeah. So I named it Spirit Craft because I wanted it to be open to all. It's not witchcraft. We're not creating rituals with, altars and all that kind of stuff. Like, your most important tool is your mind, your subconscious and your conscious working together to create what it is you want. And so, instead of witchcraft, I call it spirit
Spiritcraft.
craft.
Right, right.
So yeah, anybody can join. We're not doing like Wiccan things. We're not doing any type of like, it's non-denominational for sure.
Right.
It's nature, it's using the universe. And I wanted to comment on something you said about like the group hypnosis. What's really cool about the group hypnosis is a lot of times, I'll have people share what they visualized or what they saw, during the hypnosis. And there's usually times where I let them sit with spirit, or I let them sit with the universe and receive messages or, advice. And a lot of them have like they get the same advice. It's so cool. So there is this like beautiful container that's created, within doing spirit craft.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. So, no, my question too was, I was just wondering. So I know I'm going to come on and talk. So you're going to have your spit about your guest speakers. It's going to be about their experience, how they experience spirit, right? That's going to
Right. What
be,
their connection is. Yeah.
yeah. And I think that'll be a wonderful thing, just to not only be a guest, but I find that really interesting. All these
Yeah.
different backgrounds. And I think you said,
Mhm.
we've got everything. We've got shamanism, we've got Celtic
Mhm.
background, we've got,
Mhm.
all over the place. And so that's going to
Yeah.
be really fun. I've
Well,
noticed that too. Go ahead.
So far, the first one was a Yemaya priest, and he did a sound bath for us. It was Isaac, Isaac.
Yes, of
So
course.
Isaac was my first guest, and that's how the guest kind of started. I didn't think of having guests in the beginning when I was creating Spirit Craft this year, but Isaac just happened to be at my house, and I was like, "Hey, I'm doing my online ritual. Do you want to be part of it?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I just loved it. I loved having somebody come in and just kind of talk about how they, their world with spirit and how they connect. And so then I had a shaman come in, and she my friend Kristin, she called in the quarters for us like before we went on our journey. And then I had a roots worker come in. I mean, just all these different types of people. I'm going to have my very first Reiki master come in, and she's going to talk about Kundalini yoga, So yeah, we're having
Wow.
everybody. All are welcome.
All right, it's going to be a big party. It's going to be
Yeah.
it's very Aquarian for you.
Right.
My Aquarian.
So I
I
can't help
know.
it.
It's very, I would say it's very Aquarian. It's like just all the brothers and sisters get together. Well, I love that. I'm so excited for you for this project. I just think it's going to be amazing. Why don't you tell folks where where they can find you? Your website's thehealingwoods.com, and we'll have that. We're going to put that in the thread, of course, after this, so people can find that. So Spirit Craft has a Facebook page, so people, if they want to follow the deck creation, the news about that, they're going to go on that Facebook page. I invite you to go ahead and share that. Please share that to my wall when we're done here, or whenever you have time, for people, watching that. So we can, and also we're going to have people watching this on replay. I'm trying to think of as far as working with you, as far as your individual offerings, packages, you have a lot of great offerings for folks. They can get a hold of you at Facebook or through your website.
Yeah. I'm offering actually a free hypnosis recording that brings in feelings of peace through these like crazy times that we're having right
Beautiful, beautiful. Great. I
now.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go to thehealingwoods.com, it's right there on the front, and you click to subscribe to receive the free recording, and then immediately when you put your email in, you will receive that recording. But yeah, there's Spirit Craft, which is happening every month. The next one that we're doing is the 26th of May, the full moon. And
the big one.
Yeah, right.
The big one. Yeah, I'm working on my report right now, and I was joking with the friend today. I said, I really don't want it to be like 800 words. There's so much going on. There's so much going on with this moon. It's always like, well, how do I narrow it down? Because there's so much going on when you have a blood moon and an eclipse, right? It's just like, yeah. So
it's like a super blood equinox, or not eclipse.
Eclipse during Mercury retrograde and Saturn retrograde. Right. There's all this stuff going on. So yeah, you folks can read I'm giving my new and full moon reports for free, because normally I have a subscriber service up at Patreon, but it's really important that people know what's going on with these next two moons. These are really important, right? Because you've got the full and then the new moon in Gemini in June. So that I'm going to make available to everybody. That'll be at Cosmic Weather. But yeah, I was going to say too, your newsletter is great. I really like your newsletter. It's well done, and you have nice free gifts. I have listened to some of your recordings, and so I really invite people to partake of the free offerings, because that's great. Who doesn't want to have a little bit more peace and calm in their life right now? My gosh. Yeah. Sign me up. I know. Yeah, we need that. We need that in Mercury retrograde. We could use that, right?
Yes, we do. Yeah, all I have to say is with this moon, I am really glad to be in the shelter and beauty of these redwoods, and I'm going to definitely just harness the energy of that in this. Yeah, this is a time to plant seeds, you guys. That's all I have to say.
For sure. For sure. There's so much going on. There is. It is a great seed planting time. And I did talk a little bit about that when I was on the Alara Canfield show about the next 4 moons. So, full, new, full new. So the next four moons are really, really important. They're really vital for creating, and we're doing it when you have these moon cycles, in the retro with all these retrogrades, it becomes very inward,
Mm.
right? Especially, we've got Pluto already retrograde, then we're going to have Saturn retrograde. And of course, Mercury retrograde is just a short one. It's, thank goodness. Yeah, it's three.
Right.
This one's 3.5 weeks. Whenever it's a Gemini, it's extra, is what I always say. It's a little extra,
Well,
because it's
yeah,
the
you
ruling
get
planet.
twins, you get both of them on you, just like.
I know, right? So yeah, so basically this is really a wonderful time to do this work with me and Kristin, and anybody that's working with subconscious and planting seeds, because I feel like when we come out in fall, like this summer, it seems kind of counterintuitive because our folks in the south hemisphere, when we're in summer, they're in winter. And it's almost like these energies being so inward, it makes more sense for it to be colder or for it to be in the winter season, right? Because summer is more like harvesting. But it's really interesting, by the time we get to August in Lammas, and then we get to the 8/8 and all of that, then
Yeah.
that's really the harvest time. So that's still, I mean, it seems like it's a long way away. It's going to be here pretty quick, right? Because we're almost already in June. So yeah, the next
I
four
can't believe
moons.
this year is already halfway over. It's
I
going
know.
to be.
I know. It's so great. I know.
I
I
have
was
this.
joking, like I'm not prepared for it to be hot. I'm just like so not prepared, but that's like a whole other conversation. I know, like, can it just not be hot? We're
I
really
know.
lucky here. We had a beautiful spring. We've been having really nice weather here. In the 80s. We actually had a spring. We don't always get spring. Sometimes it's like goes to cold to hot, like immediately, which is a
Right.
bummer, but we really got to enjoy. May is really nice in the desert. So we're enjoying that. But yes, definitely I want to check in and see what you're doing monthly. Yeah, the eclipse is kind of the big mama. And then of course it's followed by the solar eclipse, which is, I joke and call it the fire under your butt, right? That's the get it going, and so it's, I've been kind of sitting with this energy going, it's really interesting to have something like propelling you and new energy, and but still in retrograde. Those two things are kind of existing. And so what's interesting about Gemini, of course, Gemini is duality. It's all about there's these two different things going on. And I also just learned something new, me, the eternal student, with my Mercury and Sag, that Sagittarius is the archer between worlds, between the earthly and the cosmic world, which is fascinating. And so we've got that energy going in for the full moon. And the other thing, you could dig this, with your deck and also just who you are. A little preview of the Sabian of my report. The Sabian symbol for the eclipse is an owl.
Oh, yay.
I
I
see. Look, I knew she's all, oh.
there owls have been following me everywhere. I have an owl dress. I should have worn it. I almost did. That's so funny.
We've got owls in the nature preserve. Brett has taken photos of them. If anybody wants to see those on Brett Langford Arts, we've been watching the journey of these little hatchlings, and at first they just look like a little ball of fuzz. You could barely tell what it was. There's two of them. And now they're, they're up and they're looking around, and the mama, I love this mama owl. She's just so fierce. I love her. And she's just like, hanging out with these two little hatchlings. So there's been so much owl medicine already, just in the last, like, I'd say 4 to 6 weeks. And then I look at the Sabian symbol and I'm like, oh, yay, we have more owl medicine. That is so cool. So yeah, we've got, that really ties in with this wisdom going within, the bridging the gap between the two things. And, what I will say about it too, is this works out perfectly with your work in the subconscious, is because right whenever you have an eclipse, it drives the energy inward, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting. It's almost like the upside down. It's this side and the other side, which, you've talked about mind and subconscious minds. It's like a perfect playing field for that, really. So this is one of those moons. It's like, I'm always excited when you do stuff for the full moon, because I love what you do. But this one was like, oh, this one's going to be cooking. This one's got a lot going on. And
Yeah.
eclipses are big. I mean, and it's a blood moon eclipse. And that's the thing too, is like, this is always, people always get all like freaked out about it. And it just, because it's powerful, I think people just get afraid of things that are, and of course there's always a light and a dark side to all of these energies, but this isn't anything to fear. This is really powerful energy that we can utilize, right? I
Yeah.
mean, this is
Yeah.
for our, and again, I think that there's certain precautions we need to take. And Mercury retrograde, of course, you need to be careful out on the road. And some people are going to be a little more not in their body. And, there's going to be that. So I always recommend people. That's why I love your idea right now. While we're at home, we're doing things in the safety of our home. Got you being guided by you. I love that idea. That's fantastic. I feel like that's like the perfect thing to do right now. And looking ahead, because I know everybody's loving you like I do, going to have you on the Cosmic Couch again. We don't have an exact date, but you're going to be coming in the fall in Scorpio season. Oh, let me ask you, how about Wolf Retreat? How's that going? Do you want to share
Oh
about that?
yeah.
I'm super
Yeah.
excited about this. Listen to this, folks. Tell them about that.
So I visit a pack of wolves, actual wolves, and they're amazing. They're just so healing. They really helped me through my cancer journey, which I'm 100% cancer free. When I say that, everybody's like, "Oh," so I just want to make sure that I
like
lead with
everything else, she kicked ass on that too. We're completely not surprised, but
cancer had no chance with me.
just no. The Phoenix is like, psh, whatever.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, between the wolves, Reiki, and hypnotherapy, like done.
And your wonderful community. I was really happy
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
beautiful community of sisters, brothers, and sisters, but a lot of beautiful healing goddesses, a lot of women that were supporting you through that. And that was, my group was a part of that. So that was that was beautiful to see. I mean, you were one of those people, I didn't feel fear about you. You didn't, we weren't feeling that. It was just one of those things, like, you're going to get through this. And of course we're going to love you through it, and that's what we did. But yeah, the pictures of you and the wolves, I just, and of course it got rescheduled from 2020. So I'm really excited that I'm going, but go on. Keep going about that. Let's hear about the wolves.
So yeah, it's going to be a day retreat, and it's up in the mountains, beautiful, beautiful mountains with, in this amazing land that's blessed. It's Native American blessed land. And so it's going to be a full day of communing with the wolves. You can actually, like, they'll lick your face. You can roll on the floor with them and pet them. Like,
I'm so excited. I'm so into it. I can't even tell you. That one picture of you where it's like that close up of you and that one wolf that was your special wolf, where he's kind of like, you're kind of like this. And that picture, I just smile so big whenever I see that. There is so much love and so much joy in that picture. And yeah, I mean, to be that close to them and their medicine, it's going to be really, really magical. It's going to be great.
Yeah. His name is Freedom. He's like the lone wolf of the pack. It's like a full pack. I think there's
Right.
7 or 8 of them. I don't remember the full count now, but Freedom is always kind of by himself because he's not part of the pack. And I just love him. He's so beautiful. But we're also going to do a lot of healing, a lot of journeying. It's going to be right around the ancestors time too. So we're going to have like an ancestor altar and just really like call on the ancestors to help us, because I have been working with my ancestors for decades, and they are 100% your first line of defense, the first ones that are going to open doors for you and close doors that no longer need to be there.
Right.
So yeah, it's super important, that's another part of the shadow work that is just so important. It's, being able to utilize that help and call on it and hear them,
Right.
and feel them, because they are 100% still around, 100%.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember my first Samhain ritual that I went to, and this was going back, I was a guest with the coven, and I was, I didn't really know what to expect, and I love the idea. I was Scorpio rising, right? I love the idea, and I just found out that I have Hecate in the 12th the which in Scorpio, the asteroid. So it makes sense. My whole work, between the veils and my
How did I
mediumship.
not know that there's an asteroid named after her?
There is.
Oh my gosh, I did not know
We can
that.
talk. We'll talk about that off the camera, off
Yeah,
camera. But
yeah.
I
Wow.
could hook you up with that and where to
She's
get that
my main
report.
mama. Like that is my main mama. I just
You
wow.
know what? That would be cool to see where that is in your chart. That would be
Okay.
very interesting. And getting this goddess report, an artist, Lisbeth Gesseman is the one that does it. And it's interesting because she's a wonderful painter that I follow, and I share her stuff at Cosmic Weather. And when I found out she also was, into asteroid astrology, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is the coolest. Sign me up. And a few times a year, she'll do this thing where she opens it up and it's like pay whatever you wish to pay, which is so generous on her part. And she gives you this very detailed as goddess asteroid report with a beautiful piece of her art. And so I'll share that too. But her page, for anybody that's interested, it's She Who Is, and that's her Facebook page. And she's an artist, so you're going to see a lot of her beautiful art on there. But she does offer those reports. And but yeah, I thought that was really interesting because again, it not only has to do with the working in between the two veils, it has to do with doing like psychopomp work and helping people cross, which I've also done with people in my own family. And it even said like some of this is difficult work, but you signed up to do it. So that's pretty cool. So we're going to be doing this work in ancestor time, in Samhain time. Oh, but I remember what I was going to say. When I went to the ritual, I love the idea of setting a place for them. I love the idea of revering them in that way. And that ritual, it was so powerful for me. And it was one of those things that didn't really matter what my background was, or if religiously or anything like that. It was just in that moment we all were connecting with our ancestors, and I really did feel like the presence of my grandmother at that particular event. And that really, I feel like, because people have asked me this about mediumship work, it's like it's really the more it's practice makes perfect. It's like any other aspect of spirit craft, right? The more that we do this work, it's a muscle, the stronger the muscle gets, right? Whether or like energy work, Reiki. Tell my students, you have to practice. That's how, like anything. So yeah, I think this is going to be an amazing opportunity. And do you have some spots available for the Wolf Retreat?
For the Wolf Tree, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I'm keeping it a little bit small on the smaller side just because we still want to be safe and everything, but we still have some spots available. So that is on my website as well if you go into the events. And yeah, I can tag it, like when you post this, I can tag that
That's one
has it
thing I've told
there.
some people, just friends, like people that I'm going, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like people are really freaking out. So I
We have
just know, what was that?
I have somebody traveling from, I don't remember what state she lives in, but she's traveling for it. So yeah, this is an amazing, it's going to be an amazing gathering of like healing, community, and wolves. Like what more do you need?
In Scorpio, it's Scorpio season, and it's near Samhain time. It's going to be so magical. And for people that are local, that's only it's a little ways outside of Los Angeles. Is that right? Like,
Yeah, it's only an hour and a half away from LA, but you feel like you're in a completely different world. It's
right,
amazing. Yeah.
right, because it's up in the mountain area up there.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else you'd like to share with our viewers today?
Let me ground for a moment and see what comes. Yeah. I just want everybody to really own that light within you, and know that even when times get dark and things are kind of crazy, which 2020 definitely was, we're kind of getting out of it a bit, but we still got some craziness going on. But just really know that connecting to yourself, connecting to your higher self, spirit, if you will, that is what's going to get you through literally anything that can come your way. I mean, I've died and come back to life from a fire, from cancer, you know, crazy things happen to me all the time. But I know that, you know, if I connect to my higher self, like I literally can't go wrong. And each one of you has that connection. Just work on getting that connection however you can.
Such an honor to talk to you. I was going to say, who better to talk about keeping your connection through all kinds of wild stuff than you know, and it's been really amazing to see your strength and just your tenacity and your spirit, you know, the spirit that keeps you going. So, but that's the thing too. It's like if you want to go to a practitioner, you want to go to somebody that walks the talk, and that's been you have been through the fire literally. Like I said, that's why I call you my Phoenix rising friend, because
Yeah.
you are. And you know, to see who you are now and the light that you always had that light for as long as I've known you. You know, you've always carried that, but it's pretty cool being this age. Isn't it cool kind of being where we are right now? I'm kind of digging
Definitely.
it. It's pretty cool. So thank you so much for being here, sister.
Oh,
Love
thank
you,
you for
love you.
contacting me. I love
You're
you.
gonna Kristen's gonna be back on the Cosmic Couch. When I have that date, I'll let you know. We're gonna do some fun talking more about ancestor work, which obviously we both love that topic. That's fun for both of us. And if you want to see us in person, we're going to be with the wolves
Yes.
at the healing retreat, which I'm so excited about, you guys. I just am beside myself. I wanted to go, and the first time she had one, I had a conflict, like a scheduling conflict. I couldn't go, and I was like, damn. And then she did it again, and it got postponed. So it's like third time's a charm for me getting out there. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah.
And
And
so
that's
find
going to
Kristen.
be,
Good. Go
it's
ahead.
going to be sad because I don't think I ever said when it was going to be. We
Oh
just
yeah,
talked about how
yeah.
cool it's going to be. But it's going to be Saturday, October 30th, and it's a day retreat. So again, if you're in LA, it's literally just going to take you a little bit over an hour to get there. So, you know, we're going to start it in the morning and end it before it gets dark because it is winding mountain roads. They're not horribly windy, but you know, I don't want people to drive home in the dark. Or you can do what Irma and I are doing and rent a place. There's lots of Airbnbs out there and make it a whole weekend, you know?
And then the
So,
next day's Halloween. So if people want to get down, you know, want to take the kiddies trick or treating or take their kids to do some event, then they could still do that because
yeah,
the
totally.
next day's Halloween. And then you could just, if they want to stay, then they could just do that. So yeah,
Yeah.
but we're gonna make a weekend. I'm excited.
Oh,
Yay.
yeah.
Yay, yay, yay. So what I'm trying to think what else. So healingwoods.com for your free gift, and Spirit Craft for your monthly offerings, and also to get the latest information about this really exciting deck that
Yeah.
I'm really fired up about. I learned something new today. I didn't know it was 3-in-1. That's, you know, there's that three again. There's that triple
Yeah.
goddess again. There she is, right? Yay. Okay. Well, we'll see. Thanks everybody for joining
Thank
us.
you
And
so much, Irma.
of course, and this will be available on the replay just to let people know. I'm going to keep all of these wonderful interviews on my YouTube channel, and it has its own little sub area that's called Live from the Cosmic Couch, and that's where this one will be. So thanks, everybody. Have a
Bye.
great evening. Bye-bye.